So today's topic, true saints versus fake saints. Anyone at the back? I have a habit of speaking quietly sometimes, so if you can't hear me, please say, or I'll just carry on. So the topic, true saints versus fake saints. Before doing the talk today, I started getting a bit scared delivering this talk. I don't know why. Yeah. So we'll see how it goes. But Google Gemini gave me the talk. Yeah. So it gave me the whole talk. Then it gave me controversial points in Gurbani and Sikh to use. Then it gave me questions that you might ask as well. And it gave me a fake Gurbani and Sikh as well. ठीक है? So I've used Gemini for some of these like images, but generally I used some of it. I didn't use most of it, to be fair. I just dashed most of it. It was not worth it. But it's scary that as a pracharak, someone could just go into something like that as AI and get a whole talk created for them. And a lot of it is actually accurate. ठीक है? So I was just testing it out because I got a free version for 350 rupees. Well, pro version from India. Little hack, 18 months. Anyway, so he created this as the like cover image because the one that we had as the poster was just showing Pakhandis, wasn't it? It wasn't showing true sadhus. And when you put into Gemini a true saint, what it usually gives you is some random Baba saving langar. So what Google Gemini was doing is just giving me a saint, a true sadhu is just someone normal in the Sangat. It's not to say it isn't, so that could be right, but it didn't look impressive enough to use that, yeah? So then it goes to extremes, yeah? So the Pakhandi, have you ever seen a Sant like dressed like that? You might see one wearing Gucci and stuff, Hannah, yeah? But you won't see that, Hannah. That's a bit extreme, isn't it, yeah? But really, if you look at the bottom, Gurmukh path and Manmukh path, but really, that where it's wrong, Hannah, so this is quite interesting because this is the sort of stuff you're all going to come across in the future. This isn't really the Manmukh path. It's usually the Gurmukh path disguised. If that makes sense? So, because this is a bit extreme in the sense that, oh, look, fraud, bakhand, whatever, Hannah, karmakan, ritual, superstition. Most fake babbe that we fall for are actually Gursikhs like us. They might even be your friends. Yeah? They might even be from Wolverhampton. They might be from Coventry. Yeah? They might be from Leicester. Yeah? So the thing is, they're actually usually dressed as normal khalsa, the garb. It's not usually that extreme, because if it was that extreme, you wouldn't fall for it, because it's too far away from your reality, if that makes sense. So it's a bit nuanced more than this, Hannah. But the one thing I want you to hold on to with that, international Sant Baba, yeah? So it's about that person keeping their position at all times. So as a pracharak, if the Panth did my badnami on the internet, you know what I'd say, you know, forget it. I sit at home, eat my parathe home, saag di roti, forget it, main ki lena. You know what I mean? Because I've got no self-preservation in the Panth as a pracharak. People call me to do talks, that's it. But other than that, I don't need to preserve myself as a pracharak on a stage. Because I'm not self-professing myself to be an expert in anything. ठीक है? So even if I write books, whatever, I'm not saying I'm an author. I don't know how I even fell upon that. But anyway, the Gurmukh path leads to the Guru, not the self. That's self-propagating. That person needs you to join to them for self-existence. Yes, so we'll get into it now. So I just wanted to do the initial, because we're not going to probably use this again, this cover. So the human challenge for us, as human beings, we want to be able to talk to someone who is godlike. Because if you knew that you could pick up the phone and speak to someone at the end of the line who is basically God, you'd be ringing that person, wouldn't you, instead of searching Google every day or searching AI? Yes or no? Yes? So the omniscient being, which means someone who knows everything. Yeah? So if you knew that you can get to that person, then you'd want to do that. So this is the underlying human problem we've got with this topic. ठीक है? Now you want solutions, you want answers, and you want fulfillment. That's what we all want as human beings. In whatever khatar of life you're in, whatever field of life you're in, you want those things. And if you can get to an omniscient being, so be it, you'd get it, wouldn't you, yeah? Now the problem we've got is, in the past, the Hindu tradition has this tradition whereby sadhus, who are renunciate sadhus, they ask for bhiksha, which is like alms, and they go and knock doors. In Amritsar Share in the past, when those sadhus used to go, some of them were in the Sikh traditions as Nirmali as well, but when they used to knock doors in Amritsar, the Sangat of Amritsar used to be that Gyanvayan that they used to be able to ask them deep spiritual questions to check if the sadhu is a real sadhu or a pakhandi. But now, could you do that? Could I do that? So the problem is, we've not got a base of Sikhi ourselves or a knowledge base which can actually catch out the pakhand at number one, at stage one. So that's why we're falling for the trap for these people, which might be bad. And the good ones as well. And now the good ones is levels into that. But the solution overall is Guru Granth Sahib. Now, the solution is Guru Granth Sahib for everything. But we've got a problem of faith. We don't believe in Gurbani. Yeah? And that's the underlying issue for all of us as a Panth. If we believed in Gurbani and practiced Gurbani, we wouldn't have no problems at all in anything that we do. So even Guru Sahib in the Gurdwara is on the takht, but really Guru Sahib di chaldi hai, ja committee di chaldi hai. And is a committee working accord to the Guru's hukum. Yeah? And in most Gurdwara, that isn't the situation. It's usually the Guru is used as a prop for people in politics and power. So that's when it becomes a problem for us, because then, like yesterday on the internet, on some weird public group, some reason on my Facebook, it turned up. Someone put up a receipt from a Semitic Gurdwara, and the receipt, on one side, it had someone's name in Punjabi, scribbled, saying £20 ardas, and then in the receipt, the actual side of the Gurdwara receipt, it had someone else's name, and it said £5. And the person posted this on a public group saying, the committee have frauded the person for £15. Firstly, the names don't match. Yeah? Secondly, why you put it in a public group? If a shopkeeper ripped you off for £15, would you go to the shop or would you go on the internet on a Facebook group? And it's our own Sikhs doing that, but they're not me. Yeah? And when you look at all the comments, most of the people are not even practicing Sikhs. So it's like we're there attacking the Gurdwara, the institution, without any backup. And I fought the urge not to reply and get into a fight. Yeah? Now the problem is we're error prone. So like that person with the receipt, whatever went on, yeah, we don't know. But the Gurdwara's got a signature from the person who signed it. It's got CCTV camera where the money's taken. And if there's an increase on the inflow, they'll know from the receipts. If there's, you know what I mean? So there's systems and ways of checking and checks and balances. But us as people, what we do is we do trial and error. So we try something, and if we don't, we try something else. But the problem is, it's all signposted already in Guru Granth Sahib. We don't need to do the trial and error. We're stupid if we do. If the Guru's told you this doesn't work, then we just shouldn't do it. So it's like hatna like sombre jal jasi tola. Yeah? Which means don't put your hand into Maya, which is fire. You're going to burn your hand. The Guru's telling you, so you know if you've got a child at home and you've got a heater, so we used to have gas heaters in the old houses, and what you do is you'd put a frame in front of the gas heater to stop the child putting their hand in. The gas heater is the wood, it's burning, but the frame is Guru Sahib, and it's stopping you getting burnt. But if you want to be stupid and put your hand through it, then get burnt. But that's what we all do. That's the human condition. So these are all the things we want to get, but we're not looking at the right place to get signposted in the right direction. So we fall off the path. So it says there, so this is like a thing from India. So on road signs in India, they say alert, avert, accident. Yeah, they've got all these funky like little slogans in India. On the back of a truck, they might say, no life without wife, yeah? I'm like, no, bro. There's loads of life without wife, yeah? And that goes both ways, sorry, yeah? But anyway, yeah? So alert, avert, accident. But that is, if you're alert in your Gurbani, you're going to avert the accident, aren't you? You're going to walk around the pond instead of walking through it and through the mud. So it's all there for us, but it's our own fault. And what we don't like doing is we like blaming the Gurdwara, the institution, the Sant Baba. Kasoor ta thwada hai. Kasoor ta apna hai. If the person frauded you, fell into the fraud because you didn't do enough research. Because we're so desperate for a solution as human beings sometimes. And that's the problem we've got as human beings. Sometimes our problems are so high that we're so desperate for an answer that we'll fall because we're just so desperate for the right solution. Human connection. So we feel that there's no human connection with Guru Granth Sahib. But when you read about the true sadhus and you see that they're seeing Guru Granth Sahib even in the dark, they can do part. Yeah? They're getting darshan. Guru Sahib speaking to them. We're talking about hukamnama. Guru Sahib actually speaks to these people. actual vocal. Guru Granth Sahib speaking to them. Yeah? But the problem is, Guru Granth Sahib is like a Monni Guru, which is a silent Guru. He only speaks when you speak to him. But if you start speaking enough to him, he'll speak back to you. But we've got to get to that level where we can get that connection. So we say, Parar Guranki there, it's actually the body of the living Gurus, but we don't put that faith in to say it is a living Guru. So we go to human connection of someone, a human being, because we think we can have a proper conversation, then we can't there. So it's our own fault of our own faith that we get into these traps. So this is the other side of it, yeah. Fall foul of the fake-ish person. So there's a level of how fake a person is. So I was just sitting upstairs in Maharaj Darbar and I was thinking, if I do this talk now, really as a percentage, if I was going to say how many sants is there in our pant, yeah, real sants, yeah, we'd have to go to 99.99 non-sants as a percentage, yeah, because even that might be too high as well, because that's the truth, because virle ke lakh crore, yeah, it says koi santana is basically there's one person who's out of millions, yeah, who exists. And I as a person, as a Guru Sikh of 48 years old in this life, I don't believe any person in this world at the moment is a Brahmgyani. Yeah, so Brahmgyani ki gat Brahmgyani janne, but my faith isn't in any human being at this point on this earth to say that person's a Brahmgyani. That doesn't mean they don't exist. There may be plenty, but personally as a person, as a speaker, if you ask me after this talk, I don't believe in anyone. I can tell you who I believe in the most, but not as pure 100%, if you say. So the debate of semantics, this is where we get into our little political divide and fights, yeah? So the truth is, if you look at Gurbani, the word Sant, Sikh, Gur Sikh, Jan, Das, Khalsa, Mahapurkh, even Bhai Sahib, if we change that sort of wording, because we don't want to say Sant Baba, so we say Bhai Sahib. In most terminology, that's actually referring to someone we see as a saint. And in Gurbani, all those terms actually mean Sant. Yeah? So we'll give you Pankti that show that as well. But, so it doesn't matter if you say, oh, we don't believe in Sants. We believe in Bhai Sahibs. But then how do you treat your Bhai Sahib? Do you treat your Bhai Sahib more than a normal person? So I went to a Godra in the UK, and they've got a Bhai Sahib there. I had a one-to-one with him. We sat down in the Langar hall. We didn't sit on the floor like the rest of the Sangat. We sat on a table, and the rest of the Sangat sitting on the floor. And when they bought Bhai Sahib's tea, they bought it in bone china. Yeah, I'm sitting there with like the dirty glass that everyone else drinks from in the Sangat, yeah. And his tea came in bone china. I was like, man, he's got a good deal here, yeah. And then when he walked into the Langar hall, everyone stood up who's eating Langar. Yeah. Now this isn't, actually I want to stop there. I don't want you to know who it is, so I'm going to stop with the locations. But anyway, some Jathabandi argue that the word Sant means Guru. Sometimes in Gurbani it does, but majority of the time it actually doesn't. Theek hai? So sometimes you have to differentiate if the word's referring to Guru Sahib or a Sant. If you want to believe it's always Guru Sahib, you can, but actually it isn't, because there's shabds that actually prove that in terms of the language. I don't want to get into that. Now, people will say in Amrit Jars that Panj Pyare will say, Matha take only to Guru Sahib. To be fair, that's the safe option. That's the truth. That's the safe option. Only Matha take to Guru Sahib. That's the safe option. But the same people who've lagged in Panj Pyare with me would Matha take to a Sadhu and a Mahapurkh. So even though they've said it in the Panj Pyare, they do it themselves in private. And they say, we can't say it because it's too dodgy now. There's too many fakes. So if they stop Matha take to every person, it's not going to work. Yeah, so there's a Pankti, this Jan ke pag nit pujiye, which means this Jan, this Gur Sikh, this Brahmgyani, pag, do puja of their feet, pag ke pujiye, yeah? And then there's other Pankti, charan sad ke toy piyo, ar prasad ko apna jiyo. You could say it's Guru Sahib, but in some places it's not as well. Theek hai? But Guru Sahib made Sikhs matha take to other Guru Sikhs. So if you look at the history of Sri Guru Granth Sahib, when Sri Guru Granth Sahib was written the first time by Bhai Gurdas and Sri Guru Arjan Dev Ji, when Sri Guru Arjan Dev Ji and Bhai Gurdas sit where Ramsar is now, for those 8 or 9 months or however long it took to compile the Sroop, Guru Sahib specifically said, go to Baba Buddha Ji, don't no one come to me. So do you think the Sangha was going to Baba Buddha Ji and doing Benti and just saying, oh, how you doing? I think they were matha taking to Baba Buddha Ji. Yeah, I don't think there's any debate about that. And then if you look in the Sikh history, when Guru Amar Das Ji made the Manjiyan, those Guru Sikhs and their Sakya, Guru Sahib actually says, "Eh tera Guru a." That's the Sikh. To the Sikh, this is your Guru. Follow this guy. I've appointed him. He's your Guru. That's the wording that's used by the Taksal in their own Pothiyan. And the Taksal is one of the organisations which is against some of this, but that's what actually existed in those times. And the Khalsa changes that situation, but the Khalsa in 5 is still the Guru as well. What we need to do, we need to respect the Bana. Well, so we do satkar of anyone who wears the Bana. So if someone's dressed as a sadhu, we respect them. That's just a human thing. If you see a police officer, you get scared, possibly. Yeah? So the thing is, you respect the uniform. It doesn't matter who it is, it doesn't matter if they're a Pakhandi, you respect the uniform, yeah? But you don't just disrespect anyone because the uniform as well. The whole point is you believe in Guru Sahib as your primary. That's got to be the core foundation for anything you do in Sikhi. Take guidance there, and others are secondary or tertiary to Guru Sahib. So Guru Sahib is always your first point of call. Other Guru Sikhs or other people can always be called on, but Guru Sahib is always number one. Characteristics of true saints. So again, I put this into Gemini to give me an image, yeah? And he gave me an image of a Buddha. Yeah? So how many of you got Buddhas at home? Put your hands up. I've got one as well. They're like, oh, it's good luck, you get money. I was like, whatever, yeah. Mota jiha ithe baitha hai sade mora, yeah. I don't think Buddha looked like that, yeah. But anyway, now what I liked about this image was, look, he's got a mala, yeah. He's in a smadhi, and the bachara's worn out, yeah. His statue's falling apart, isn't it? And it looks like he's crying as well. If you look at his eyes, yeah, it looks like he's crying. Yeah? So he's got a bit of berag, he's nanga, possibly, and he's falling apart. So he's probably a true sadhu because he doesn't care what the world thinks of him. Theek ya? So he's actually probably not getting any puja. A true sant will meditate with every breath, and I really struggled with this photo to put here. So in the end, I had to go with Baba Talk Singh because he just kept giving me some random Bajorg in the Langar hole in it, and I was like, what do I do? So that's personal to me, I will put there, and that's from 99, Vaisakhi Nagar Kirtan in the UK. But anyway, so the Pankti is Jina Sasgarasna Visre Harnama Man Mantan Se Se Nanaka Puran Soi Sant. So what it means is a true Sant is someone who meditates with every breath, and even while they're eating, they meditate. So you're sitting in Wolverhampton. Who are the Brahmgyanis who came to Wolverhampton? Yeah, Sant Singh Rara Sahib. Yeah, you could say Baba Talk Singh, according to my personal belief. Anyone else? Anyone else? Sant Singh, yeah? So Sant Singh used to come to a house nearby, and Sant Singh just down the road as well. Sant Singh taught Godara last Diwan. So as a Sangat, in your generations, you've had Brahmgyanis. Even in this Godara, we came Baba Talk Singh here to Diwans and stuff. So you've had it within your generations, and possibly within your family circles. Theek ya? Now, with Babaji, it was pratak in terms of like, sometimes you have to work out if the person's meditating all the time or if they're living according to Gurbani. But with Baba Talk Singh, it was in front of your eyes. Bart used to go on non-stop, 24 hours. There was someone physically reading all the time in front of him. So that never stopped. So you could physically see that. So if you think of yourselves and myself, we go into the Diwan, 5-10 minutes, we can't sit, we can't concentrate. But this guy's listening 24/7 just to Gurbani, nothing else. Theek ya? Now, so we've kept the sexes, yeah? So we've kept gender safe. So we went to a BB, yeah? Yeah? So, what we're going to do is we're going to go through a bit of this 9th Astapadi, is it, I think? In Sukhmani Sahib. Nomiya, Babaji? Nomiya? What is Tare Jwantara now? No, Nomiya Astapadi, है ना? हाँ जी. वो मैं हैगी पंक्तियाँ हैगी बाकी. अल्लाह करनी है. He knows if I mess up, I'm going to ask him what the next line is. That's what it is. So this, why I've chosen this Astapadi, rather than using the Sadhu one and the Brahmgyani one, this one will show you characteristics which you can develop yourselves, which lead to you becoming a true saint. Theek ya? So these things you can see as well within that person. So the first Pankti, so slok means a verse which takes you to the Guru's abode. That's what it means. Anyway, so that person who meditates on God within their heart, heartfelt meditation, yeah? Why Guru coming out of a Hirdaya? Look how big our heart is, yeah? You'd expect it to be smaller, but anyway. They had the Jar Sahib on the floor. I had to tell Gemini off, so what are you doing? Jar Sahib was on the floor in front of it. So we deleted that. Anyway. Sarab mein pekhe Bhagwan, that person who does heartfelt meditation, they see God in everyone. ठीक है. So this image has got ik onkar in the eyes, yeah. So there was a guy who used to live in Wolverhampton, and his name was Sadhu Singh. He's passed away now. He passed away a few months ago. He had a lot of kamayana, so he'd do like weird things, like we'd be in a room together, we'd go to sleep, and he'd start doing Simran, and we'd go to sleep, and we'd wake up in the morning, and he's still sitting there doing Simran. Yeah? And so the reason I'm bringing him up is because of this ik onkar in the eyes. And so what happened was, I think it was Purnamashi, so it's when it's a full moon, and he started looking in the sky, and he could see Guru Nanak in the moon. And some people that I know phoned him, and he said, Darshan Kallo, Guru Nanak de Darshan hunde, yeah, in the moon. So the Sangat and the circle, they're all gone a bit crazy. And then I started getting messages and getting phone calls. I said, do you have a look? Can you see? Because no one else could see it yet. And I said, look. I looked and I couldn't see Guru Nanak in the moon. And I said, look, he can see it, but he doesn't realise that his vasta is so high that no one else can see it. So he's seen the darshan, he's seen it's everyone's darshan, you know what I mean? And he even went, at one point, he went to Sachkhand, and so he sort of died, went to Sachkhand, and he said, the guy lives with me, Maharaj, bring him as well. And they didn't get along, they never spoke. Yeah, his Barabkar was that he said that, and then he got sent back down and lived a few more years, whatever happened. But anyway, Nimak Thakar Namaskar, this person, with every breath, with everything they do, they matha take to Akal Purkhana. So the Pangati we have, Kita Lodiya Kam, so Harpe Akhis, everything that we do, we should always think about God, whatever task it is. So Baba Thakur saying, we get in the car, before we get in the car, we have to do an ardas. I'm like, Babaji, what are you doing? Hey, Gatti Bana ardas karo. I'm like, whoa, extremist, ardas sit in the car. But that's their Sharda, isn't it? Theek hai? In India, they've got a tradition where even on a book, you like your writing pads, we can say it's Biyadbi, whatever, but it's Bhavna as well. On every page they open in a book, in a writing pad, they write ik onkar at the top as a mangal. So it's like a namaskar on every page. And so these traditions exist within our sort of Sikhi. So this one, so obviously you can see what this person is doing throughout the day. Now this one was really good. So we had a female version, and as you can see, it's a bit too revealing, so I had to change from female to male. Yeah? So Nanak oho par sagal nistare. So this person who's doing all these things, he or she liberates the world through their meditation. So sometimes we think a Sant has to go somewhere and do prachar, but a true Sant can sit at home and just send out energy in the world and change world history. That's the power that they have. And some people become Brahmgyanis and carry on their life as normal, and no one even knows that they've got to the stage, because they don't do any prachar. But the thing is, so this guy, so on the internet, our new social media influencers and whatever, saying, oh, we need a little test before you take Amrit to see you're physically fit. So in the Amrit jar, do 50 burpees, do 50 press-ups, and if you're not fit enough, don't take Amrit. Man, he's got a six-pack. Yeah, he's passed the test. Theek hai? So this Pangti is a bit technical. So Nanak oh aparas sagal nistare. So aparas means someone who you can't touch. Theek hai? So someone you actually can't touch. So even when they talk about Guru Sahib and Guru Gobind Singh and stuff, when the Singh used to matrik, they say Maharaj's feet used to disappear. Theek hai? Because they're Jyotarup, they're not actually the physical sarir. But what it means is the person is blemishless. They're untouchable in the sense, how we say in English, untouchable. So this is the Astapadi, so this is the body that follows that. So there's 8 verses which will carry on extolling these virtues or qualities that you could develop. So the first one is tongue. Yeah, your tongue shouldn't touch anything which is false of the world. So you shouldn't talk about false things. Theek hai? So I'm not going to read the Pangti, I'm just going to give you the meaning. The mind, you should always think of having darshan of Akal Purkh. So you're longing for the darshan all the time. Theek hai? Lustful gaze, you shouldn't look at anyone in lustful gaze. Yeah? So these are like, if you looked at these sadhus, if they're not doing these things, you know they're a sadhu. If they're doing these things, then you know they're not. Sadhki tail, Sangat, so he's saying Sadhki tail, so you do seva of sadhus. Man asad, sadde jan koe, which means the mind is a non-saint, but it's purified or placated by a true Sant. Yeah? Theek hai? And how is it placated? Sadhki tail, which say Guru Sahib's seva, yeah? Because that's a sadhu we know 100%, yeah? Sant sang het, but they live to have pyar for the Sadh Sangat. So the Sadh Sangat is where you do Nam Japana, or you extol God in some fashion or form, not where you do Nindya Chugli after this session, sitting in Mr. Singh's. Theek hai? So Sad Sangat is very limited in what you do. Karan na sune kahu ki ninda, so they don't listen to anyone's slander. It doesn't matter if they're of another jathman, they don't listen to anyone's. So they'll just stop you midway, yeah? They won't listen to it, theek ya? Sab de jane aapas ko manda, so they see themselves as low, the lowest of the low, yeah? So I'm not going to explain this example fully because it'll be taken out of context, but Baba Thark Singh started crying in front of me once. And they said, I've been egotistical. That was their own words, Hannah. So the thing is, this is how, like, the nimrata, this is how far it goes for these people. Gur Prasad Bhikhya Par Hare. Then if you do these things, with this Guru's Kirpa, your poisonous vices of the world, Bhikhya means poison, Hannah. Par Hare. So with the Guru's Kirpa, you'll naturally, intuitively stop sinning. You won't do it. It just won't happen. So you all know you've got bad habits. I've got a bad habit of getting angry and swearing. Yeah? But after a while, these habits just go away themselves if you carry on in the path. Man ki basna mante tare, yeah? So it means you actually stop your thoughts. So you stop your thoughts going to the wrong place, and then you get developed where even in your dreams, you start controlling your dreams. Theek ya? And then you get developed where you actually don't do any sin while you're awake and while you're asleep. Theek ya? Indri Jit Panch Doktere, they win over the human organs, let's say, and so those human organs that they've got, or what's the word for, what is it? No, I haven't got it there. The human organs that you do actions with, basically, they control them so they don't do any bad actions, is what it means. Theek ya? And then they don't get influenced by the Panch Dok, so Kaam, Krodh, Lobh, Ahankar. And then Nanak Kot Made Ko Aisa Apars. So there's one person. A court is 10 million crore, that's 10 million. So it's saying, Nanak Kot Made Ko Aisa Apars. In 10 million people, you might find one. But in Kal Yug, you might be more than that as well. You still might not find one in 10 million. Theek ya? So that's not exact figure. So in Gurbani, when it's usually used, the figures, the numbers, it usually say lakh, crore or whatever. So it's not necessarily restricted to that. So these people who are true sadhus, they're actually one with God. So these pangtiyan sayyida, Ram Sant mein ped kishnahi, ek jan kai mein lakh crore. So saying ek jan, the slave of God, lakh crore is out of hundreds of thousands, which is millions really. Crore is tens of millions. Theek ya? Ram Sant mein ped kishnahi. So he's saying Ram, which is God, Sant, a person who is a true Sant, which could be Guru Sahib, there's no difference between the two. And the one we read in Rera Sahib, Har Harjan doi ek hai bichar kashna hai. So here, Harjan is not Guru Sahib. It can't be, because Guru Sahib wouldn't be referred to as a slave of God. Theek ya? A Harjan is definitely a Gursikh or someone who's on the path. Theek ya? So he's saying Doe, the two, God and the slave of God, they're one. Yeah, there's no difference between them. So how a ripple of water or a wave goes into that same water, emerges. That's how these Gursikhs merge. What a true saint will do for you. Yeah, so I'll put Guru Sahib's painting there. That's Batshanya. Sabde Vadda Sadguru Nanak Jin Kal Rakhi Meri. So out of the world, out of everyone, the biggest is Guru Nanak. And I always say Guru Nanak's bigger than God, because he's getting me to God. God's not getting me to God. Guru Nanak is. He's taking me there. So for me, Guru Nanak's bigger than God. Theek ya? But he's the biggest. Now, if you follow that Guru Nanak, a true Sant will get you to join with Guru Nanak and not with themselves. So a Sant I went to, the first time I ever met them, they gave us like a 3.5 hour like Katha, me and my two brothers. So there's three of us there. And what he said to me the first time we met him, he said, don't ever become a deen of anyone in the world. So which means don't ever kneel to any power in the world. And I said, not even me. Theek ya? So I got really corrupted at that young age of what it was 17, 18. So I never listened to any Jathabandi, never listened to any organisation. So I'm renowned across the world for being someone who just speaks. So I never bowed to anyone. And they said, don't even listen to us. Keep your independence. That's what you're supposed to be as Gursikhs. So that was the teaching that they gave to me. I became this and everything else to this day. But that's what they taught me. And absolute humility, especially so in Guru Sahib's Darbar. They will not allow you to do anything in Guru Sahib's Darbar. You'll get castigated, you'll get whatever. So even Baba Nand Singh would sit in a dua in Guru Sahib's Darbar, would sit lower than the Sangat. Kabir Sant na shade santi jo kotak mile sant. So what it means is a true saint never gives up their true nature, even if they meet millions of fakes. Which means if you went to a true sant and you swore at him, he shouldn't get affected. But we have something which is called Vivharik Jivan, which is daily interactions with the world. So they might for a split second get affected, but overall they come back to their true form. So it's saying even if the sandalwood is surrounded by snakes of the world, it doesn't give up its coolness of sandalwood and its fragrance. So this is a test, a pH test. That doesn't mean go to a sadhu and swear to him. Yeah? But it's a test. So me as a Guru Sikh from birth, I don't know why, I always believed that you never muttadik to any person on a Guru Granth Sahib. That was a Pishla sanskar of mine from birth. Even though I ate meat and did Putte Siddha Kam, but as a sanskar, that was embedded in me from childhood, that I don't muttadik to any man. So the thing is, for me, and because I'm a hater, I hate everyone and everything, so I'm hypercritical. So for me to have Sharda, I'm probably the most anti-Sant Banda and most pro-Sant Banda in the world. Because I hate all the Pakhand, but then I love the true ones as well. So it's like it's a dichotomy of myself. But the thing is, I was hypercritical, so I never actually believed in any Sant. So a Sant stopped me eating meat at the age of 11. And then he gave us a photo of himself, which we've given to someone else now. And so I had different Sants coming into my life, different Guru Sikhs coming into my life, but I never believed in anyone until later on. But that was when I was 100% sure that this is the real deal, So characteristics of true saints. Again, I struggled with the image of what do I put here. I had to put Sant Janarsan because I couldn't think of doing anything else. Samdrishti means they look with an equal eye. So they see everyone in the same eye, in the sense that they see God's light in everyone. They don't see fat or small, tall, Ramgarya, Jat, they don't see any of that. They don't see white hair, black hair. They just see God in everyone. And then they do not bow to any worldly power, wealth or status. So if you see a Sant and you know he's more friendly with the Sangat which gives money. So I know Bibi here, she's an artist, and she's not here today, let me be clear. And a Sant came to the UK and she said to me, she did some calligraphy, so she did a Shabad in calligraphy which took her I don't know how many hours to do. And she had the art piece at home, and when the Sant came to her house, she gave the Sant the art piece. She said, I gave him the art piece, I got nothing back. He went to someone else's house, which he went to afterwards or before, however it worked out, and said when he went there, they gave him money, and they gave the Singh there a Qurban. So she said, I gave him Gurbani and got nothing back. They gave him money and the guy got a Qurban in return. She goes, I got the short end of the deal here. Now, these true Sants don't bow to any power. So if you look in India and you look at all the media Sants of our Qawm at the moment, they all bow to the power of the Badal, Akali Dal, whoever it may be. It doesn't matter what Sampradaya, what Jathabandi it is, they all do to an extent, So Sant Janarsan said, physical death I do not fear. Death of conscience is a sure death. Now, death of conscience is where you're actually compromising what Gurbani is saying to win over people, to fulfill your own personal pursuits. And that's the issue. So the Sants I had in my life, they didn't care who it was. They didn't bow to any power. They never did at all in any way, shape or form. But this is what most people will do, and that's where you work out. That's not to say they're completely fake, these are the Guru Sikhs, but they're not the perfected 100%, So Khalsa Mera Roop Hai Khas, there's a function of the Khalsa fulfilling that for us now as well. To say, if you want to speak to Guru Sahib, you can go to Amrit Sanchar and speak to the Panch Pyare there. So there's someone who's got a lot of media hype at the moment, a lot of arguments going on the internet, and he gave a statement clarifying his position and said, I went to Panch Pyare, but no one knows which Panch Pyare he went to, because did he just get his 5 mates and say, you're the Panch Pyare? Or did he go to Amrit Sanchar where he's got a risk of the Guru actually doing him over in real life? Do you get it? Because when you go to Panch Pyare and Amrit Sanchar with Guru Granth Sahib Hajar, there's nothing that can interfere in that situation. That's just you and the Guru. So even when they do Peshis or Akal Takht, they don't have Guru Granth Sahib Prakash. Yeah? And they don't do the discussion with Guru Sahib there. They've started doing like the announcements now from the Takht on there, Hana, publicly. But before they didn't do any of that. And they never give to you without you deserving. Adhikarak, are you actually deserving of this knowledge or this wisdom? If you're not, why waste it on you? And the truth is, most of us, including me, we don't want God. Yeah? We want a bit of money, we want a nice car on the drive, nice house, our kids to listen to us, which they never will. Yeah? Yeah? And to the world to respect us. Theek? But really, if you go to a true sadhu who you're trying to get to God with, they're never going to give. So we always think, like, oh, Babbe ne kirpa karti, danda mere sir te rakhta, kapat khul gaya. If that happens, that only happens if you were deserving of it. Because you had some pishli janam de lekhe. So we talk about Putanna Jat and getting God out of a stone. Odi bhakti pishli sigi, he didn't just sit there and get it. Yeah? So the thing is, some people can do that at the sleight of hand as well, if they've got the kamai with God. But the thing is, a sadhu, from what I've experienced, will never give you anything without you deserving it. They will never do it. Now the fake saint, we've gone back to the image, yeah? Oh, forget that, I can't bother with that. Now most systems that are set up of the fake saints, yeah, what the majority of them do is they've got this like sleight of hand, which is the hook. And what they will do is, all of us in this room, or anywhere in the world, will usually get bhavana or join to a sant because we're dukhi. So your mum might have cancer, your brother might have died, and you're dukhi and you go to the sant, or you want your disease to go away, whatever it may be. You know? So the majority of us, majority of sadhu sangat, 99% it comes from that. There might be 1% to actually go to the sant for Sikhi, but majority of them actually start their bhavana from that, from some dukh or something. So the sant knows this person's coming to me because they can't find a husband or a wife and they want to be dukhi even more, yeah? That's what they want, yeah? Really underneath. And the sadhu thinks, sorted. If I get them a wife or a husband, they're going to be customers for life. Because once the person gets married, they get married and they've got a problem with the in-laws, they'll come back to me, more money, yeah? Then they'll have a child, then the child's going to have problems at school or with mental health or whatever it may be, some more money, yeah? Then that child's going to get married, then more money. Then that child's going to kick the parents out or move out, some more money. So it's custom for life, isn't it? Repeat custom. Theek, yeah? So the married folk, you guys are the best, yeah? Anyway, sorry. What they do is, if you go to the Sant Dera or whatever it may be, yeah, what they'll do is, you know how you go on Google and do some research about a topic that you're looking into? They'll send someone into the Sangat to talk to you. So, what you doing here? How did you get here? Where have you come from? You come from Glasgow. You drove 5 hours to come here. You must be really desperate, Hannah. Yeah? So the thing is, what they'll do is, they'll actually find out, elicit the information off you, go back to the Baba, and the Baba, when you actually get your turn to go to the room or whatever, he'll say things to you which you haven't even talked about yet, and it's like, oh, he knows everything. Oh, he's a Brahmgyani. He read my mind. No, the guy came up and told him 2 hours ago. You just waiting for 2 hours downstairs and you forgot what you told to the next person. Or you told the other Sevadar 2 weeks before and they just had your number ready. So the same guy now in India has passed away now. And what he did is he went to a dira like this and he just didn't tell him. And what they had is they had a numbering system. So they'd call you by number. And he had his number and they got to the end and the whole hall emptied out. Because he didn't tell him anything. So they couldn't do the pakhand with him. Do you get it? Because he didn't reveal any information. So they go come back again. So that's what they said to him. The best one I had recently was, this was quite bad, yeah. What time are you supposed to finish, Bubban? All right, this one was quite bad. So I'm not working off the slides like I do, yeah. But anyway, I was in India and one of the Siane, I know, like a father figure to me, his Babi was ill, she had cancer. And he said to us in the car, so we were at some program near Malpur, and he said, "Ite Nanpur Sahib Gurdwara, yeah?" And what they say is, if you attend the Sukhmani Sahib there, anything you ask for gets done. So if you ask for £1 billion, you'll get it. If you ask for, so he said, I'm going to go there and get Babi's cancer cured, Ex Sukhmani Sahib minu marda. He goes, number lag jana, yeah. So we're in this car, yeah, and one of the sayings from Canada, because he was tight, yeah, he paid for this really tight car, yeah, and he was all squashed up like sardines in the back of the car, yeah. So from Malpur side, we go to Anandpur Sahib, because we could do that on the way back to where we were going in Haryana. So we went to Anandpur Sahib. So we get in there, and he said the Godara's name is Baba Deep Singh. I saw the Godara on the road, and we drove past it. So we basically go on the road pole to go towards Anandpur Sahib, but this is before that. And I said, the Godara's behind there. They go, what? I go, I saw it. The sign wasn't. There's just some random Godara on the right-hand side, Anna. So we turned the car around, and we went back, and there's like an ice cream van outside, yeah, selling golfia. There's some kids playing around, like, basically he was dead. It's a Sunday as well, so we must have been about 4 or 5 o'clock at this time, yeah? Still daylight. We got out the car, and I was like, I want an ice cream. So I started checking out the ice cream stall. They started walking in, and there was a guy sitting with prashad outside the diwan, and they went over to the guy giving out the prashad, and I'm wearing like killing shastra basically. So I have another shastra that I wear in India sometimes, which like will stab people up basically, you know? So I'm wearing that shastra. It's not too big, but I'm literally like this already in actual chola, and I'm not sure which one. And the two guys, one from America, one from Canada, are crouching down to the Deg Sevadar, speaking to him. And the Deg Sevadar is just looking at me. So his whole dhyan is on me. Yeah? And I knew straight away, I thought, Banga Pegya. He's got scared because I'm here, thinking this guy's come to chop us up for the pakhan that we do here. Yeah? And then what happened is, I just sort of walked off because I knew what was going down. They hadn't cottoned yet. And they said, look, we know there's a Sukhna Sahib that goes on here and all this. And the guy goes, yeah, we do it, but we've not got one booked yet. So give us your phone number and we'll call you back. Because he was petrified of me. Yeah? And so we got back in the car, and then I told the American uncle in it, I go, that's what happened. He goes, tu mera sara kaam kharab karta hai, tenu nahi mor ke naal nahi aana, all this, yeah. So he's like, and I was like, what are you like doing here? We already go to a Sant who's like Puran, and then you're like taking takke to go some like quick deal, you know what I mean, on the slide. And how can like, it's not to say Sukhna Sahib's not got the Shakti, you know. You say, Waheguru wants you got the Shakti to solve someone's problem, but he's just like, it's a money making scheme, and that's just outside Anandpur Sahib. Theek ya? So what they do is they hook you, and if they're successful in solving your problem, a majority of the time who solves your problem is Guru Sahib and your own bhavana of the abhyas, of the shabd or whatever it may be. Yeah, it's not to say all the systems are wrong, but what they do is you're usually lucky when you go there, and if they hook you in and you get something, then you come back. Theek ya? And then the best one is, if it doesn't work, you just say, yeah, you didn't do it right. Carry on doing it. Yeah? So it's not like a guaranteed thing, but the same thing is, because we don't understand karma philosophy, after trying, if you're not going to get the thing, you're not going to get it anyway. It doesn't matter what you do. Not in this life, it might be in the next life. So because we don't actually understand karma philosophy, so a lot of this, if you understand karma philosophy, you won't get stuck in these traps either. So this is a shabd about Pakhandis. So it's saying basically they wear chole and whatever it may be, you know? And then they have a mala in their neck, yeah? And then it says, Oye har ke sant na akhiye Banaras ke thag. So Banaras is a famous city for sadhus, and it's saying that you don't call them sants, they're all frauds, they're all cheats, yeah? So if you think of ourselves now, yeah, we have people at our smagams in the UK wearing chole, acting like the boss at the front of the diwan, talking throughout the diwan, and they've not even had sant here. Yeah? And you're like, what's going on in our system? So we've been at smagams and stuff, and no one can do an ardas. ठीक है? We should always have people there who can do an Amrit Sanchar at that point if they need to, है ना? But are we all tiyar but tiyar? I'm not tiyar but tiyar at the moment, है ना? So, ऐसे संत ना मोको पावे डाला स्यो पेड़ा गटकावे, है ना? So he's saying they basically eat you whole. So there's an analogy here which I haven't got on here, है ना? But the analogy is this, है ना? The Prana sadhus, the saints of the past, used to be like a cow. Yeah? You keep a cow at home. What do? You give it patte. It's like grass, isn't it? Yeah? So you give it feed. What does that cow give back to you? It gives you milk. From the milk you can make butter, you can make paneer, yeah, you can make cheese. Yeah? So that cow, what you're giving it to it? You're giving it grass basically, and it's giving you something of worth continuously. Theek ya? The modern day sants are like a hathi, are like an elephant. Yeah? How much do you have to feed an elephant? Rajuga? Won't will it, yeah? And the hathi, what's it going to give you back? It's going to give you nothing back. Cost nahi dena, hai na? Yeah? So what they say with the ga, hai na, Thoda dena, bota lena from the Gahana. Inu de bota dena, kosni lena, you know what I mean? From the Hatti. And that's what's the situation we're in Kaljug now. It's supposed to say outward garb, outward garb versus inward corruption. So these people, bek the kave, such nakamavi, so they wear this dress of a sadhu or a gursik, whatever it may be, but they're not actually living according to the discipline of that. Yeah, Atit Sadai Maya Kamata. So they call themselves renunciates, but they're engrossed in Maya. So I know within the Nirmala system, the Nirmala sadhus are not supposed to touch money, but all the Nirmala sadhus all touch money now. So where's that gone? Where's the renunciation gone? It doesn't exist, ठीक है. So this is the harsh one from Bachitar Natak. This is Guru Gobind Singh. So Maharaj says, Pek takaye jagat ko logan ko baskeen. They show a garb to the world, but really they're actually entwined of mattha taking to the world because they need the world to believe in them. Yeah? Antakal kati katyo bas narak molin. Yeah, so in the end, Guru Gobind Singh is saying they're going to be chopped by death and they're going to go into hell. These people are. That's from Bachitar Nath from Guru Gobind Singh's autobiography. So some of these people will say to you, we had this case in the UK, yeah, come to me, come to our Baba, and he will talk to Mata Sahib Gaur for you, have a conversation, and then come back to you and tell you what Mata Sahib Gaur told you to do. That was the prachar in the UK and across the world. People remortgaged their houses, gave them money, the whole thing. And nearly all the people I knew were all my friends. Yeah, I'm not going to lie about it, yeah. And a lot of them will come back now after losing all their money and find out the Baba was a Pakhandi. I said it from day one, and I don't like saying it. I was right from day one, Told you so doesn't work because all those people got destroyed. And they tried it with me as well. So they phoned me and they said to me, Mataji's told you to come to the Asthan. Yeah, so this is when they started. And I was like, मैं मरिया या मेरी माँ ने होर किस नूं दर्शन देने आ मैनू नहीं दे सकदी. Yeah, and I'd been taught by the sadhus that I go to that this is how people do Pakhand. So what happened in India, I'm not going to name the place, but basically when India and Pakistan go to war, what happens is they usually put the army on the bridges over the rivers. Yeah, so on each end of the river. And there was a river in India, and the army official went to sleep. He got up in the morning and he said the river gave me darshan, yeah, and said no one made my mandir here, yeah. And so the army guy made up a lie basically saying he got darshan and started a mandir. That mandir is now the best running profiteering mandir in the whole of that city. He didn't get no darshan, he just made it up. People believed him. So I'd been taught that. So when my friends started this scam using Mataji's name, and I said to people in arguments as well, I said Guru Gobind Singh first broke the guy's legs, yeah, and now Guru Gobind Singh is going to finish him off after getting his 2 wives, because he got married to 2 women as well in the end. But anyway, and he's still around, this guy is. But so the thing is, we've got real cases of this, and then there's other sadhus who said, would dress up like Guru Gobind Singh and say, we're Guru Gobind Singh reborn. The Maya in 3, this is for all of us and these sadhus. This is how Maya attacks us in 3 forms, yeah, Tan, Kam, Vadiyai, lust, wealth, and status. So these 3 things you can always see in the Pakhandi sadhu. You can find these always. So that case of him getting married to his second wife, we'll go into that in a minute, yeah. In the Greeb Sikhan ko de Patshahi, so in the Pankti, I've always heard it on the stages, Deho Patshahi, but the Gemini was telling me I've got it wrong here, so I've listened to Gemini for that and Pangus Pant Prakash. But what it says is, Guru Gobind Singh, this is our philosophy, Guru Gobind Singh saying to us, I've given you, the poor Sikhs, sovereignty, the ones who've got no money, the peasantry. So Guru Gobind Singh saying, I'm giving you Patshahi, not the ones who are rich, yeah? And so we went to Hardwar once, and I was with a Rana Sahib Allah Singh who lives there in Hardwar. And I said to him, is there any sadhu in Hardwar that we can go and see? This is like a Hindu religious city, no meat, no shrab allowed in there. So koi sadhu mainu mila de, je hega, so I just wanted to it's like we're fishing in it, we might as well just have it, we're here now, we might as well see if there's anyone around, yeah? And we were driving past some dera, and he saw through the gate the sadhu sitting there, and he goes, gaddi roko, pajjo, pajjo. So we got out the car, me, my brother, another guy from Wolverhampton, and we went in, and sadhu saw us, he was a Hindu sadhu, yeah? He He was a Nanga sadhu, so he's basically, he keeps like nakedness, but he wears a small cloth over his front, and when he saw us walking in the sengs, straight away he started getting like a lino or something, started putting that out for us to sit on the floor, so we don't sit on the bare floor, whereas his own sevadars were sitting on the floor, just on the, out of satkar. So we went in and sat down with him, he started like messing around with the seng that knew him, and they were just like basically gossiping about everyone in Hardwar, and I was like, what the hell, yeah? This guy's supposed to be like a real Sant, and what's going on here? And then I just thought, let's try it, yeah. So I just put in a question, I said to him, if someone wants to meet God, what do they have to do? And his whole demeanour just twisted. In a second, he just changed. He looked straight at me and he just started talking about God. And in the conversation, so Hardwar as a city, what people do is, Hindus in their old age will go and live there and give up like life, let's say, and just to renounce the world, let's say, And he said in the conversation, he was a hilarious guy, yeah. And he said to us, he said, what the Sants here in Hardwar do, they tell you, as people who come here, give up the world, but give us all your money. Yeah? So they say to you, Dunya tyago pa paise sanu jaan lage de diyo sare. Yeah? And he was ridiculing all the Sants in Hardwar. And he said, look, I've got several hours in US, UK and all this and that. And when I asked this question, he said to me, the gate's there. Do you want to meet God? Stay here. I'll give you food. I'll give you shelter. Stay here. He goes, but you're not going to do it, are you? Because you want to go back to the UK. Because you're asking me a question, but you don't really want the answer. And he was right. So it's not Ami Shardalu, but we go to university, listen to Gore, we can go to other denominations and whatever, So we don't have to be extremists. Doesn't mean we became Shardalu or anything like that. I've never been to see the guy again. He might be dead, yeah. If it worked on wealth, the rich would buy God and the poor would never see him. Yeah? So you also have the Gucci chameleon Baba. Yeah, you've all seen this Baba on the internet, yeah. 1 week he's wearing green, 1 week he's wearing blue, yeah. He's got his jewels going up to his Rolls Royce, going on his helicopter, whatever it may be, yeah. You can work out who it is. But anyway. Lust, popular scandals of Baba. Baba caught in the street with his black shorts on by a Radha Swami, filming him from his bedroom. Took 3 months to find out because the Radha Swami Bujara couldn't find a seng in the pant. And I was one of 5 people who found out first. And I had to work it out because they wouldn't tell me who it is. But anyway, you got this guy caught on camera, snogging a bibi in Birmingham somewhere, and then he got kicked out of the UK and he's still doing his Baba scam in India. Caught in a hotel room in Chicago. There was a Baba, famous case. And he ran away from the Chicago hotel because the Sangat was outside doing a protest and he was in there with a prostitute or someone. Tikya? The other one that we talked about earlier said your second wife will be celibate, but will you be celibate? That's the question, Babaji. Yeah? Because your own Sevadars will come back now saying you weren't celibate, you were a naughty boy. Yeah? So this is the problem we've got. They sell this dream, but they can't live it. Fame, status is the most powerful drug, so more so than lust and wealth. Because status is what keeps the person alive in this situation. So you came naked, you leave naked. That's what Gurbani says. Fake miracles, fake persona to fulfill stature. Some have real powers too as well. They do. There's no two ways about that, yeah? So my brother who's passed away, he was sort of really, had a lot of Sharda on this Sant who used to come to the UK. And so after the one, we went to the Sant's house where they were staying. And I had a question for the Sant. So I've only started talking about this recently. For many years, for 20, 30 years, I didn't tell anyone. But anyway, we went to the house of the Sant. What actually happened is, what the Sant did, so we're sitting in the room, there's about 15 people, Sant sitting on a seat. What he actually did is he paused everything in the room and said something to me. So it's as if the whole room paused, he said something to me, and then he unpaused it and it started again. I was like, what just happened? Stayed quiet, got in the car, going home. And I said to my family, I said, did you hear him say something to me? And they said, no, I just stayed quiet. Now the Sants I used to go to in India, when we used to go there, we'd go there and in 45 minutes, Katha, all the people who were in the room, they'd answer all your questions without asking a question. And sometimes they'd even tell you what you've been up to, which you should have been doing. And you don't have to ask them anything. And then at the end of the 45 minutes an hour, they'd turn around and say, have you got any questions? And you're like, you just answered them all. Yeah? Now the difference is, They did it, but they didn't tell me. Do you get it? This guy actually paused the whole room with his Shakti and then unpaused it. Now someone would become a Shraddhalu through that. So there's another Sant who comes to the UK, yeah? One of my friends went to an Amrit villa that they used to do in houses at the time because they didn't have like an astan. And he was a bit gullible, to be fair to him, the Singh. He went to the Amrit villa and he sat down 4 o'clock with them, the Baba's in there doing Simran. And then they said, the Baba said 3 things. What if a black cat were to scream? What if it would start raining? And what if something else? And I said 3 things. And he goes in that next hour, he goes, all 3 things happened. The guy phoned me at 9 a.m. and he said, look, he goes, this is what just happened to me. He goes, what do you think? I go, Pakhandia. I go, the Baba knew it was going to happen or could make it happen and he wanted you to become a Shraddhalu. I go, this ain't a circus, is it? Sikh is not a circus. So things do exist, Anna. And I went to one place and which is quite famous for like people falling over, screaming and the other ones and stuff like that. And I went there with my brother and we're sitting next to each other. And the guy who's speaking off the stage, the sort of Baba Hana, I got a bit peeved with him. I was like, I came here to do Simran and he just keeps chatting it. Yeah, I've had enough of this, yeah. So I said to myself, I'm going to start doing my Simran by myself. I'm going to ignore him because I'd had enough. Yeah, after 90 minutes. Because he wouldn't teach me anything new in my Hankar, Hana. But anyway, and I said to my brother, I said, his whole dhyan, the Baba, is on me. And he goes, tu jade Brahm gyan nahi hai, tu apna apna ki samjhda. And he said, like, basically, you got history. You think he's really just thinking about you. 60 seconds later, the Baba goes off the stage. He goes, if you come to a new Asthan, you should listen to what's going on the stage. You shouldn't go and do your own Simran there and ignore everything. And then my brother elbowed me. He said, there. I go, well, there you go. And I told you already he's doing that. And so it was hilarious, like, seeing these things happen. And then this guy fell on top of me, pretending he's gone to a trance. Yeah? And I was like, what are you doing, bro? Like a Baba, and he just fell on my legs. And what he felt like he was like a Superman move pitching one. Yeah? If you faint like a feather, don't you? You don't faint like that. Hana? So he's on my leg. I just pulled my leg out. I'd had enough then. I was like, man, yeah? And then the Baba off the stage said, Inu sorti liao, yeah, edi malish karo. So guys came over, started doing his malish, and I was like, bro, I just want to kick you, yeah. He was old though, and he's about 65. Anyway, so they started doing his malish on his feet. And then all of a sudden, he jumped up, sat back down like this. Huh? So you've just gone unconscious, yeah? Then when you've recovered, you've just gone, bang, Superman back, Superman that way, and Superman back, you know? So I was like, what's going on here? I said to my brother, I've had enough here. I said, let's go, let's get out of here, yeah. We got out of there, we went to the other Godda, had langar, and he went home. And at the other Godda, they gave us a whole carrier bag of fruit, and I was like, Maharaj, kehande ithe prashad chako, pakke khane, yeah? And I only went to that place because someone was basically pestering me to go on it. Cult of personality, follow me. If you don't, you will be doomed. So some of these Babbe, like some of the examples we were given, these actual people that did this, Hannah. So if you went to them and said, all right, I want to get married, the Baba says, do 5 akant paats Arasthan. You say, okay, here's £500, 5 akant paats done. Theek, yeah? You got the reshta, you got your wife, yeah? The Baba finds out, your reshta's done. All right, for the rest of your life, you have to do 5 akant paats, yeah? You're like, what, bro? The rules of engagement were 5 akant paats and I find my wife, no, I have to keep paying you. No, but if you don't, then, you know, when you have a child, it's going to be disabled. This is actual phone calls, yeah? So this is sayings who've told me this, and so one of the sayings, he got a phone call, his wife's pregnant, and they said to him, if you don't do this, your wife's going to basically, something's going to happen with the child, and he lost it, Hannah, the guy. And he said back to the other saying, who's a senior to him in the Sangat, he said, look, he goes, Jo marji hoye kalgi tar mera aya. Tere Baba jo marji kar lave, I don't care, Hannah. So this is what they do, Hannah. I get darshan X, Y, and Z, I can talk on your behalf. Why have you got the Khalsa Panth? Why have you got Guru Granth Sahib if you need someone else to get you to meet Guru Sahib? It doesn't work, the system doesn't work like that, does it? The spirit of Baba Deep Singh comes in me. So there's people from commentary who said this. Someone said we're shaheeds, reborn in our last life, Hannah. And yeah, this great warrior can't fight an ant in this life. Yeah, you're like, make it make sense, you know, your story. If you're going to gap marni, thodi bahut chal bhi jave, Hannah. Yeah? Displays Shabda Guru with themselves and center your attention, selling miracles and fear. Fear is a good currency, Anna. It sells. Because we're desperate for solutions and we can't find them. So if we know someone can wave a magic wand and make it work, we'll happily deal with that, Hannah. Their own Maryada are court rules. So we can have diverse Maryada, we can have Nahang Dal, we can have Nanak Sar, we can have Nishkam, we can have whatever, it doesn't matter. Na? We can have our own different separate Maryada. But what we can't have is to say our Maryada is supreme over everyone else. And that's what the court needs you to believe. Because if you don't believe that, then you might go somewhere else. They need you to come to them. They can't allow you to go somewhere else. ठीक है? Accept the difference, है ना? Gurbani is the supreme pH test for everything. If you study Gurbani, you will find these things, you'll find the test, you'll find what's going on. But we don't do the main. We've got to do the main in Gurbani, है ना? Extremism without humility is flawed. So we can be extreme in Gurbani, but we've got to have the humility with it. ठीक है? Where we put our faith is where we get our results and fruits, है ना? That's how it works. I'm going to wrap up, I think, now. Have we got any more? How many more we got? Oh, gosh. Yeah? So what we've got now in the modern sphere, self-help gurus. Was it Deepak Chopra? Was it in Epstein files, yeah? Yeah? He's, isn't he? Yeah? Deepak, our good old boy, selling it, yeah? And then who's the other one? What's the one from here? Shetty. Yeah, I nearly said something else then, yeah? Sorry. Yeah? So the thing is, you got these guys, mindfulness, it's a whole industry. All these things exist in Gurbani, but we just didn't sell it. Someone else packaged it in a better way. Yoga, Peer Baba, mediums. I've got a Bibi ringing me who's got confused in mediums and possessions and stuff. I'm like, yeah? So, like, you see the advert in this, but this, so Punjab Times says, Peer Baba, in 24 hours, will solve your love problem. Your wife will come back, yeah? 24 hours, yeah? Give me £500. Yeah? So someone paid £10,000 to do black magic on me recently, and it still didn't work. But anyway, £10,000, yeah, I'm worth it, yeah? Break free from body consciousness, which is primitive, Anna. So break free from your body, Anna. Spiritual consciousness is what we're supposed to do, Anna. Social media addiction, attention. We've got the attention of a TikTok. Yeah? I have conversations with cousins of mine who are children, 14-year-olds, 13-year-olds, and I can show you the WhatsApp and you're like, is this person mad? So the question was, what was the question? He read one of my books, Anna, and there's an account in there which is fictionalised, Anna, and he said to me, is that story true? I said, no, it's fictionalised. He said, what does fictionalised mean? I said, use Google. Yeah? And then he came back. He said, okay. He said, so is it true or not? I said, what did Google tell you what fictionalised means? He goes, it means made up. I said, so what are you talking about? He goes, oh, sorry. And this is like every conversation. If I ever talk to the two brothers on WhatsApp, this is what I'm dealing with. I'm like, mera dimag pagal hai ya, aur kisda pagal hai? Yeah? Because we go for immediate gratification. That's what we're looking at now, Hannah. And social media grime has got that to us now, Hannah. And trillions of years we've been on earth. We are all as old as God, and we are one with God, but we're confused because we're in the in-between at the moment, yeah? Now, we've been here for trillions of years, so you've got baggage from previous lives, you've got to work through that, yeah? And you've got to work through other things. So whatever your personality is, that's been built up from previous lives. You can't blame anyone for anything. Usually it's all your own fault. ठीक है? But the solutions will come with time, with Guru Sahib. We've already said all this, Anna. We all need elders and the wise or the ustads, yeah? But we have one Kant, husband, Lord, God, one Sant, which is Guru Sahib, one Pant, one Granth. Yeah, you can carry on with these things, Anna. And that's who we've got to go to. Shromani is a word that the Nahangs use. Guru Sahib is Shromani to us, which means supreme. We only bow to the supreme power, and the supreme power gets us to supremeness. Otherwise, that's the problem we've got, Anna. Lokan ki chatrai upmate besantar jar. This is what true Gurmukh say, na. We don't care about the world praising us. We couldn't care less. Yeah? Koi pala ko ho pave buda ko ham tan diyo hai tar. I've given my body to you, Guru Sahib. I don't care if people call me good or bad. That doesn't matter. That's the difference. They don't need the status to continue. Yes, if you read Jayasri Diwar, Hana, there's a slok in their body, Hana, which is talking about a person who's got a ita roop and shinana, which basically saying he's got no form, he's got nothing but haranam man pinna, the pankti that comes in, he's imbued in God's name. So he might be poor, he might have ripped clothes, but he doesn't care. So we have sadhus like that as well. Conclusion, Guru Sahib is our all. Yeah, that's what's keeping your heart beating, nothing else. Garb, you get what you get in your life and who you get. So don't die trying to find a Brahmgyani because he might not be allocated for you in this life. If it's allocated, it'll happen anyway. Don't waste your money and time. If you want to check the sadhu, don't give him your money. Don't give your money. See if they'll let you thingy. The sadhus had never asked for money off me. Yeah? So the thing is, a true Sant will join you with God and want money. So even if you say, all the karse wale, they all ask for money, hai na? There's some karse wale that actually are not allowed to do garai. They exist as well. So it's not to say that some people need money for projects, so that will be the argument back. But the simple fact is, a true Sant just wants you to join you with God. He doesn't want to take your money off you. He doesn't want to fleece you and give you a gold to put at home, hai na? And then do kabje and Godare in India. That's what some of them do. Hai na? You've seen the news stories. Make it now. God realization now. Hai na? Any questions? Oh, 1 hour 20. We did 1 hour 5, innit? We did okay. Buljuk the Kimmer. If I've offended anyone, I didn't actually mean to. Yeah. Luckily, there's no one in the room that I know who's got trauma from these sants. Yeah. There was a few people laughing because they tried to con us in these games. Yeah. But it's hard, like if you've actually been through this process and you've been traumatized by it, because there is people in the real cases, innit? So some of the stuff I mentioned in the talk is real. It's not like we're not making these things up. These things have happened in our lives in front of us. So stick with Guru Sahib, and that's the main point I'm going to make. Any questions?
I've got some questions sent in. Some of the questions is, do we ask saints or Guruji for guidance and help?
Guruji, first and foremost. That's what I said on the screen, Anna. So Guru Sahib's first. After that, you can ask your stars, you can ask your friends, but your faith's got to be in Guru Sahib, Anna. So it's not to say you can't, but you've got to have faith in the person that it's going to work. So I'll give you an example. A lot of sadhu sants will give you a shabd to do a vyasavana. Yeah? So they'll say to you, do this shabd for 2.5 hours at Amrit Villa, sit on an asan, do this, whatever it may be. But if they're telling you to do that, they're telling you to do that many hours, aren't they? That's the truth, isn't it? Yeah? So the Sakhi of Bhagat Kabir and Loi, someone comes to get their problem solved. Bhagat Kabir isn't at home. Loi gets the person to say Ram 3 times. His diseases get solved. She destroys his duck in this life and his duck in the next life by saying Ram 3 times. Bhagat Kabir gets furious with Loi. He says, why did you do that? Tu Ram sasta laya. So the shabd which comes, Karbat palana karbat teri, la gale sun benti meri. That shabd is about that, what happened. Now what happens is, Bhagat Kabir says, how dare you say Ram 3 times? Can you do it once? That's the Shakti, that's the difference between the pretenders and the real ones. The real one can get it in 1 word. Guru Angad Dev Ji, when they used to come out of their kamra in the morning after doing jap tap in the kamra, Amrit Vela, the low on the prakash from their mukhra used to be that much. The people who were diseased would just get cured by them just coming out the kamra in the morning, Sana. That's the prakash. So the sadhu sants I went to, we used to have a system whereby someone would come with a dukh, whatever, and the slip they would get would be, do this shabd 13 times a day. And just do it with Sharda Bhavana, not 15 male, not 20 male, because there's a difference in the Shakti, isn't there? And they're telling you that's the minimum you need to do 13 times. Yeah, I've never seen that in our panth. Any sadhu's done that. Said, Tera vari kal to thoda gal ban jani. You know what I mean? A day. And they're just saying, do Sharda Bhavana, that's it. That's all you need to do. Do it with faith. Just minimum 13 times a day. You can do more if you want, but just do it with faith. So there's a difference in the person who's actually giving you the bhajan. So there's strength in the ball of the person, but they've got to be able to be fulfilling it, And most of us can't do the 2.5 hours or 4 hours, whatever it may be, So there is people I believe in, but I will say to them now, if they want to go, I'll say, don't you dare. If you ask them and you don't do it, you're finished. So just better just not asking, because you can't do the 4 hours part, whatever it may be. Just don't ask. ठीक है? हाँ जी.